Don't even get me started.
What exactly are the limits of her powers? What exactly are her powers? Like, she can harken back to her ancestors, only the female ancestors, because obviously it's a Marvel show, and they haven't yet had time to learn from the Marvels and the absolute catastrophe that was financially. So they're still pushing, obviously, the girl power message and all of that sort of stuff. So it's only female ancestors that she can harken back to, because they are the protectors. I'm not sure how that worked historically, but okay. But you look at basically all the things that she can do. It seems like, well, it can give you super strength. It can basically allow you to do anything that you need to do in any given situation. It allows you to heal. It allows you to enter people's minds. It allows you to basically stun people by putting your fingers like this on their chest when she stops Kingpin in the final episode from basically lamping her. You said that.
Just so that people know,
what is her power?
Spoilers heavy.
Oh yeah, sorry. Probably should have a spoiler sign. But
that's just it. Like, when I read up on the character from the comic books, she doesn't have these super.
No, she has abilities. She has basically like an instinctual memory, which allows her to immediately recognize and copy anything that basically she sees someone else do.
Yeah,
so she can mirror their combat style directly back at them.
She echoes it back at them.
Yeah, which hence the name. It makes a lot more sense.
Yeah. Well, actually, I didn't mind the way they did the echo bit in the name of it with the ancestor stuff, because I was like, okay, this could be quite cool, because it's like it's you are hearing the echoes of your ancestors. However, I didn't like the way they just did it. Was just magic powers. I was like, especially the healing at the end. I was really disappointed by that. And
if it was,
but I'll come on to the healing in a minute. Because it could have been,
if it was like abilities or skills that they had that she doesn't have. That, yeah, I mean, how that's gonna sort of frame itself in like a hero aspect or anything like that in a modern day Marvel, seeing as technology is better now than it was then, it's debatable.
But not technology, just like it could have been like, oh, an ancestor has experienced having to fight before. Boom, here's the fighting style that they used. Like, you could have several ancestors that have different fighting styles, so you can adapt to different situations quite well.
Okay. Yeah.
So I that's the way I would have tried to do it, especially with the way they were doing it. Like I said, I didn't mind the idea of having it an ancestral thing. I just feel the way they did it, because essentially they used 3 ancestors, and one of them was a mother.
1, 2, 3,
4 if you include the original. I'm still not sure if that person at the start was a god or something.
Magical tree person.
Yeah, I'm really not sure.
Yeah, so there was her. There was the gunslinger.
Yeah, there was the
that whole scene was so weird with the gunslinger. Like, the flashbacks were horrendous.
I thought I don't know what game they were playing with the ball. Yeah, is that where?
That's where the woman goes all girl boss and basically wins, even though.
Yeah, but is that lacrosse? That's lacrosse, right? That's where that originated.
Probably.
I don't know. We're not American. We don't play lacrosse in the UK.
But basically, there was never any female stickball players.
No. Yeah, I get that. But again, like, when I was watching that scene and watching it unfold with the whole, they're winning, then the other team brings out their secret player, and then he starts dominating the game.
Oh, you mean Roybridge?
Yeah, and then this woman player who is the ancestor, she kind of gives up, and I'm like, that's a terrible attitude to have as a player, because I originally thought this was just a fun friendly sort of game. But then it turns out, no, you get a bit of dialogue that tells you, oh, we're going to be exiled if we lose this game. And I was like, oh, this is actually for high stakes. And she's giving up very easy. Like she loses the ball at one point, and instead of chasing after the player that took the ball from her, she just stands around looking upset. I'm like, no, run back.
You
Do
might
something.
use the term has a hissy fit.
Well, I wouldn't, but it is a term.
But yeah, basically she just stops. Refuses
Yeah,
to do anything.
she gives up. And then another thing with this power. Does it only manifest in this town?
Because that's
Because
where they're from.
yes,
Maybe.
but is that the limit of this power? Like, because when she was in New York fighting against like Daredevil, and I'm sure she must have been in life or death situations while she was working for Kingpin.
Yeah.
Did the power never manifest then?
God knows. Like, it doesn't seem like it did. I mean, one of the things which confused me, to touch on what you said there about the fight with Daredevil, for instance, which, I mean, I could talk for 20 minutes about how it was complete shit, considering it only lasted 96 seconds and was all of the time that Daredevil actually spent within the series. But the problem that I had is it's made to look in episode 1 that Hawkeye basically knocks Echo down and could easily kill her. And yet she supposedly almost holds her own against Daredevil. Whereas Daredevil's probably the better hand-to-hand combat out of the two. But
Is that
the
necessarily
thing,
true? Hawkeye is an assassin.
he's an assassin, yes, but he's better range. He's better with his bow.
Okay,
So
I'll allow that.
hand-to-hand combat, I'd bet on Daredevil.
Sure. Yeah, like I also felt that the supernatural stuff was it took away from the fact that she'd clearly worked hard growing up to learn how to fight and take care of herself and all of that sort of stuff, being raised by her father and that. So I felt that the superpowers just kind of took away from her own achievements. It was like, okay, she's incapable of doing something by herself, so boom, magic power to the rescue. And I was just a bit like, no, you're taking achievements away from this character, this who's worked extremely hard. Like learning martial arts is not something you do overnight. It takes years of dedication. So the fact that it was just kind of like, oh, okay, then we'll give her a magic power. It's like, that's not fair. That's not fair.
Yeah, yeah, I know what you mean. It's basically they needed to make her powerful and to give her a reason for basically being a character. But you can have a character who's more grounded than that by basically putting them in a real sort of circumstance. For instance, Daredevil doesn't really have any magic powers other than the ability to hear.
Yeah.
He was trained to fight being blind. So he's probably the closest character that you'd say to like a Batman. He uses his, he doesn't rely on special powers basically to fight, other than the fact that his hearing's really good.